Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we prepare for the 6th race of the season here for the NNSCRA Pedrigree Xfinity Series. It's our first dirt track stop of the season, but second road course stop as we are here today at the Riverside Rally Track. And this is going to be a very interesting race for two reasons. Number one, the racing we're going to see here is going to be unlike any road course race you've ever seen, the way that this track is configured. And secondly, these drivers are running here today, probably for the only time this season, with 0 damage. The reason being, there's a portion of the track you guys will see over on the other side where if we put even moderate damage on, a lot of drivers would end up retiring out of the race with engine failures the way that the car lands off of some of the jumps. So in order to ensure the fact that drivers will not be retiring just due to the fact that the way the track is built, we have them with no damage here today. Caution flags are on. So if an incident takes place and drivers get involved in them, they will probably still be able to continue. So kind of a second chance for drivers that may run into problems here today. Kyle Thomas lines up on the pole position. I believe he is the first driver this season. No, I'm sorry, he is the second driver this season that has won a race and captured a pole. The first one was Ashland Boyd, going pole to win at Road America. But Kyle Thomas took the checkered flag in the second race of the season at Pig Stadium. We'll see if he can become the first two-time winner here this year. Alongside of him is going to be the Liberty University Camaro of Sky Commons. Commons had a great run last week at Rio and jumped up inside of the top 10 in the top 15 in the point stands, 11th in points coming into this one. So consistent runs for that car out of Junior Motorsports. We'll see if he can translate that into a victory today. Row 2, you've got Charles Jackson. Now, he started off the season really well. His finishes lately, though, have kind of tapered off. Last week, he dropped in the standings down to 23rd in points. Alongside of him, Anthony McCrury. We saw him in the second half of the race last week at Rio absolutely dominate, en route to a victory. Back-to-back wins coming into this race for the Penske drivers, McCrury and Phil Parker. Parker's going to be rolling off from the 6th position, 2 weeks removed from his fuel strategy win at Memphis. Let's go down trackside, get those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines.
At this point in time, our 5 previous winners in the season are all inside the top 15 in points. Ashland Boyd still the points leader. Anthony McCrury is 3rd. Kyle Thomas 5th. Ryan Madden is 6th. And Phil Parker currently 15th in the points coming into this one. So right now, all 5 are still in the top 20 in the points. So their wins currently would still count towards a playoff position. You'll watch as the drivers make their way around this road course, and we'll show you some of the trouble spots from today's race that we'll definitely be keeping an eye on. One thing that we're going to be noticing in this race that we did not see in our first road course race at Road America is I think we're going to see lead changes and a lot of passing for position going on, because this track and some of these corners, it's all about momentum. How you approach on entry is how you're going to get a good or a bad exit. And if the driver in front of you makes a mistake, you're going to be able to capitalize. There's a couple of straightaway areas as well. See them coming on the uphill S's here. That's going to have a lot of speed. This is one of the toughest spots of the track, this kind of paperclip right-hander. However, surprisingly enough, we've watched these drivers in practice, and they've been able to somehow get on the brakes, get down to around first, second gear, and be able to make it through that corner. That may be a passing zone, especially on exit. Little bit of a straightaway here before you get to a sharp right-hander right there. This corner, a lot of drivers could mess up and run off course. Left-hander's going to take them to the fastest portion of the track, but in a way, not really that fast, because you're going to have a long straightaway here, but in this straightaway, you're going to have 2 jumps that you're going to have to deal with. Here you see the one of them right here as they go up the hill and back down. The second one's going to be just up ahead. Another thing these drivers are going to have to deal with, too, that a lot of dust gets kicked up in this portion, so they're going to have to try and see their way to the front and not run off track, because that grass off there to the left and right, if you get caught, it kind of sucks you in, and it's very difficult to get back on track. Final portion of this track, which is going to maybe be the deciding factor at the end of this race. Got a nice little left-hander here and then it will turn into a right-hander. I've driven this track several times, and that right-hander, it's literally like taking a turn at a dirt track. A lot of counter-steering. The rear end of the car wants to come out from underneath you. You literally slide through it. And it's very spacious, too. You can hold them 3 wide, maybe even 4 wide if someone's brave enough to go up there to the cushion of just in front of the wall. And we could see someone make a last lap pass for the victory right here in this corner. Here we go then. 20 laps of racing here today at Riverside Rally. Chevrolet Camaros of Kyle Thomas and Sky Commons will lead us down. Then you've got the Toyota of Jackson, the Ford of Anthony McCrury. As the green flag set to wave. Green flag, let's roll at Riverside. Watch the speeds they're going to get in this uphill section. The S's leading up to that paperclip right-hander. Kyle Thomas off course just the least little bit. 2 tires off, but doesn't look like that affected him very much. He's going to clear for the lead. Sky Commons now with Charles Jackson battling for second. Here we go into that hard braking zone down to about 75 miles per hour as they swing around that paperclip turn. Looks like everybody got through it safely. Sky Commons in second. We got a battle for third as Jackson got a little off course there. McCrury is going to move to third place. Patrick Zych now looking for fourth. Let's watch and see what happens here on this straightaway with the 2 jumps. Side-by-side battle for fourth between Jackson and Patrick Zych as McCrury, got a little loose there, almost got off course. Nathan Ormond almost did the same. Saw Kyle Langeland a little loosey-goosey back there. Looked like A Xavier in the 24 got off track a little bit as well. Battle going on for second place. Look at this. This is the dirt track turn I was talking about. And there'll be 3 wide for second coming off of it. Patrick Zych, Anthony McCrury, Sky Commons. Who's going to give into the left-hand turn 1? Jackson waiting to see which line opens up. They're still 3 wide in the S's. It can't really hold them 3 wide. This could be trouble, and there they go. Off course. Can they save it? Patrick Zych spins. McCrury trying to get back on track. That's off the racing surface, so I don't know if they'll throw a caution for the 9 and the 48. No caution. It was far enough off track that they did not throw the yellow. Tough break there for Sky Commons and Patrick Zych. They will not get the aid of a yellow, and they're still trying to make their way back on track. Saw Anthony McCrury was off track and lost a number of spots. There he is all the way back about mid-pack now. Last week's winner as we move back up to the front. Best battle right now is going on for the second position. That's where we find Charles Jackson currently situated. Phil Parker and Andrew Miller right behind him. This is going on about a second, maybe more, behind the race leader Kyle Thomas. Another thing that I should point out too, I'm almost 100% certain that these drivers will not be able to make it the full distance on fuel. So if we go green all the way, we could see pit stops. And this pit road is a 35 mile per hour pit road. So they will be crawling down pit lane when they make those pit stops. So far, Chevrolet has won the first 2 races of the season, and then 3 wins in a row for the Blue Oval Ford camp. So you got to think there's a little confidence for drivers like Phil Parker, even J Shelly, who's right now running in the 5th position, to maybe continue that streak and keep it alive. Shelly coming into this race currently in the 9th position in the point standings as the caution flag is out. So for the first time today, the yellow flag will wave. It'll be on lap 3. And that's going to be a huge break for Patrick Zych and Sky Commons, who had lost a lot of ground after spinning off the course. They'll be able to catch back up and try and make some forward progress again. Kyle Thomas going to lead them down. There was a car on pit road, and it looked like it might have been one of the JD Motorsports cars, either Trent Dunham or Zach Winkle. It obviously wasn't Kyle Thomas because he's currently out in front. So the pace car is going to pick up the race leader. Ashlyn Boyd, the points leader, is back here in the 6th, right now in 38th. Might have been involved in whatever it was. Oh, it wasn't a JD Motorsports car. It was Corey Williams in the 51. And it looks like whatever issue he had to call a tow truck. Don't know if they'll get him serviced and back out before the leaders come back around. although I think he may have actually already fallen a lap down when Kyle Thomas came back around to receive the caution. Waiting for the pace car to pick up the race leader here. Looks like he will in just a moment. The thing is, it's hard to tell who is involved in bringing out the caution because there's no damage in this race. But I think with the fact both Patrick Zych and Sky Commons, who were off course, were able to get around Ashland Boyd, I have a feeling our points leader was involved in this wreck, probably with the 51 of Corey Williams. Let's go back and see what happened to bring out the caution. Then we'll come back and see if indeed these drivers may take the opportunity to pit here under caution, or will they all stay out. Not really sure if this was what brought the caution flag out or not. We'll have to wait and find out. But contact between Corey Williams and S Ozkan. Ozkan going to hook Corey off course. And look at the hit right there. Just the angle that he hits the steel guardrail at. And that car was stuck in the steel guardrail. Could not get free as the front tires were completely off the ground. And look back here. No, the lights were not on the pace car. So that was not what brought out the yellow flag. Let's jump up here to the 6 of Ashland Boyd, because he might have actually been the reason this yellow flag came out. He's 3 wide with Ozkan and Thibodeaux. Oh, and then that contact spins the 52 of Jacob Thibodeaux around. Thibodeaux goes airborne. Holy cow! He did a 360 in the air. And you see Ashland Boyd went off course and trying to get his car back on the racetrack is when he lost all the positions. Thibodeaux off track as well. I think he was closer to getting back on the racing surface, though. But that was a wild ride for the 52. Pulling off some X Games moves there as he did a 360 in the air after basically being an innocent bystander after contact between S Ozkan and Jacob Thibodeaux. That's the second driver that S Ozkan made contact with within maybe about 100 feet. Looks like also the 24 of R Xavier had gone off course. Let's actually jump back and see what happened to him. He might have actually been trying to avoid the... Oh no, there was contact between himself and the 25 of Kyle Langeland. Xavier got off course, tries to get back on, and Langeland was there. And Langland's going to hook the 24 of Arthur Xavier in the right rear quarter panel. And remember, if we didn't have damage off, I think that would have taken the 24 car out of this race for absolute certain as he went head on into the steel guardrail. So fortunate for a lot of these drivers that it's a no damage race, but they are going to pay the price with all the positions they lost on track. Let's go back now for the restart. And we have had pit stops. Everybody came to pit road under this yellow. Some drivers just now leaving. Sky Commons there, Patrick Zych, Ashland Boyd. All these drivers that we saw basically involved in those incidents. Arthur Xavier as well as Jacob Thibodeaux. I believe the 51 of Corey Williams has returned back to the racetrack. But he is currently mired 1 lap down. And in this type of a race, with it being no damage, not really sure he's going to be able to get himself back on the lead lap. Although, I think we do have double file restart, so he may actually restart alongside of Kyle Thomas. And so if he can get ahead of the 0 of Thomas and get himself a yellow flag, he could get himself back onto the tail end of the lead lap. Let's actually look for that 51. I think he may still be back here with these drivers trying to catch up. Lights are out atop the pace car, and he is right there. And he is not coming up here for a double file start, so never mind. It's more than 10 laps to go, and I thought with a double file restart he'd be able to come up here and try and battle to get his lap back, but apparently that's not the case. So the way they'll line up, when we go back green, Kyle Thomas, the leader, he had a good gap back to Charles Jackson before that yellow flag came out. Now Jackson's right on his back bumper. Phil Parker lines up in 3rd. James Shelly is currently going to restart 4th. Andrew Miller is going to be 5th. 6th, Nathan Ormond. Chase Marks in 7th. 8th, Emmanuel Hartnett. 9th, James McCloud. Dylan Poteet will restart in 10th. Then you got Sean Gallighan, Quentin Moore, Diego Yepez, Eli Bright, Kyle Keith. That is your top 15 with Nathan Stapleton, Daniel Voyles, Jimmy Dawson, Kyle Langeland, and Joshua Ciculli. That is your top 20 for this restart. All 40 cars still running. 39 on the lead lap. Green flag in the air. And Jackson's going to waste no time. He looks low going into turn 1. James Shelly making a move for 3rd on Phil Parker as Thomas tries to clear through the S's. coming up to the paperclip 180-degree turn. Jackson pinching right on the door. We'll see who's going to outbrake who going into the corner here. Ooh, a little contact maybe there as Kyle Thomas tried to run Jackson up the track just a tiny bit. And he will take the lead. J Shelly's going to clear Phil Parker for the moment for third. Parker's going to battle back on the right side. And I thought they might carry this battle here onto the straightaway. They will. Oh, Phil Parker. Woo! He almost ran into the right rear of Shelly, had to turn the car to the right, and almost went off course for his troubles. Another car off course back there. That's Corey Williams. Sean Gallighan was off course a little. So was Daniel Voyles. Look at this dogfight for the race lead back to fourth. Phil Parker down to the inside of Charles Jackson for second. Phil Parker is a well-known dirt track racer. Not really known for his road course prowess, but it's dirt covered. And he's definitely showing that he's feeling very at home right now. He's now all over the back bumper of Kyle Thomas. Two former winners duking it out for the race lead as Jackson and Shelly battle for third. Parker looking to see which lane he can take to try and make a move on Kyle Thomas. Might try an undercut here off this corner. Can't quite do it, but he's still right there all over the back bumper of that Flex Seal. Actually, Flex Shot number 0. Caution is out. So we are racing back to our second yellow of the day. We'll see who's going to be the leader when we get there. Saw Phil Parker make a great move in the final corner to get from fourth to second. We'll see if maybe he sets Kyle Thomas up there. Second caution in the first half of this race. Parker, I don't know if he's close enough to strike or not. He's going to look low, run a little bit lower into the corner. He'll drive it in deep. Can he get to the right rear quarter panel? He can. Tries to get the run off the corner. Going to be a drag race between these two. And Kyle Thomas just barely going to edge him out at the line. Gotta wonder if Phil Parker might have been formulating in his mind if that was the last lap what he would do. Now he knows that Kyle Thomas at that outside line gets a little bit better run off the final turn coming to the start-finish line. And it looks like Arthur Xavier may have been involved in yet another incident. N Ormond in the one car also way back here, along with Matthew Logan and Jonathan Zoerlein. So we may have had a number of drivers with some issues here, bringing out this second caution. And I believe now Arthur Xavier is 2 for 2 in being involved in what's brought the caution flag out. Although I don't really think his incident with Langeland was what brought out the caution the first time. I think it was that incident we saw with Ashland Boyd, Samet Ozkan, and Jacob Thibodeaux. But nonetheless, as Kyle Thomas picks the pace car up, let's go back and see what brought out this second yellow flag of the day at Riverside. This did not bring out the caution, but this is what lost N Ormond so much track position. You see right there, he tries to out-jump Andrew Miller, makes contact with Miller's right rear, and it sends him off the course. And we saw that happen a little bit further up as well when Phil Parker almost ran into J Shelly, and that is the end result. So he lost all that track position because he had to get himself out of the grass. That is a very sandy grass, not a lot of grip there, and it takes a while for you to actually get out of there. So that is not what brought the caution flag out. Now let's see what the yellow really did come out for. They were 3 wide through the final turn. That's J Figadarello on the bottom, Jonathan Zoerlein in the middle. Contact's going to take place between those two. That sends the 0-0 of Zoerlein up into the right front of Matthew Logan. Both of them going to go up and get that outside wall pretty doggone good. And then I think the rest of the wrecking was in reaction to this. I know the 7 of David Garcia goes around at one point. There he is. Yeah, he gets the inside wall. Comes back up the track, collects Skylar Perry and Zach Winkle. And I think someone else wrecks further up here, heading into turn 1 perhaps. Unless it was the 4 car that I saw before. I think it actually might have been Winkle. You can see, look at how the difference is between dirt and asphalt. Look how that 4 car is still sliding. All that momentum and really no grip there. And there's the 24 of Arthur Xavier. And he and P Zych make some contact. Oh, you can't really see it. Let's see if we get a better camera angle here. they were all trying to swerve to avoid. I think it was Jacob Thibodeaux who was, or no, it wasn't Thibodeaux. That was Logan that was sitting in the middle of the track. And I think right there in that dust cloud, I think R Xavier turned hard right to avoid the 21. Patrick Zych in the cloud of dust can't see him, and the two of them make contact and go spinning as well. So about maybe 6-7 cars involved in this one. This was an incident that started just about inside the top 25, but again, no damage. These drivers will re-rack, try it again. Kyle Thomas, currently your race leader at Riverside. We're getting ready to go back green, and we've had some strategy take place here nearing the midway point of this race. Kyle Thomas, Charles Jackson, Phil Parker, James Shelly, all of our front runners decided to come to pit lane. Andrew Miller, who is in the 5th position, decided to stay out. So he is the new race leader. D Poteet lines up in 2nd. Quentin Moore 3rd. Emmanuel Hartnett 4th. 5th will be Diego Yepez. Then Eli Bright, Sean Gallighan, Kyle Keith, Jimmy Dawson, and Joshua Ciculli are going to be your top 10. You've got Corey Williams in the middle of all of the top 10 there, but he is 1 lap down. And restarting all the way back now in... Let's see, where is the 0? Well, they still got him scored up here in the top 10. We got to wait till he crosses the line to find out exactly where he is. But he pitted, so too did Parker, so did Shelly, so did Jackson. A lot of the drivers that were running up there towards the front came down pit road. I think the 3 of Chase Marks pitted. N Stapleton, I think, pitted. And so we're going to have to wait and see how it cycles around here. And if indeed these drivers up at the front can't make it on fuel, did that just cost them? Kyle Thomas crossed in the 29th position. Jackson 30th. James Shelly was 26th on the restart. Phil Parker 25th. And they were our top 4 when we took that last caution. Andrew Miller out in front in the 33. Miller had a great run last week at Rio. He moved up to 20th in the point standings. So first goal, getting the top 20 in points, is done. Now second goal, go to victory lane. And right now he is out in front as we are now at the halfway point of this race. D Poteet right behind him in second. Poteet coming into this one 35th in points. Had a poor showing at Rio last week. Dropped 10 spots in the standings. So looking to bounce back from that. Emmanuel Hartnett. Saw him have some issues this season as he comes into this one 32nd in the stands. And he's under fire from Quentin Moore. Moore had a struggling start to the year, but had a good run last week at Rio, and he comes into this one now 31st in points, so definitely on the rise in the standings is that 89 car. But the question is about all these drivers around the top 28 or so that did not pit. Can they make it these final 11 laps on fuel? We went back green with 11 to go. We got a good battle going on back here. Kyle Keith, Jimmy Dawson, Joshua Ciculli, J Figadarello. That's around the 8th position that they are battling. N Stapleton in that mix as well. I thought Stapleton had come to pit road, but he did not under that yellow. And speaking of yellow, caution flag is out again. 3rd caution of the day here at Riverside, as we've got a brewing battle for 2nd place coming back to this yellow. D Poteet in the 07, Quentin Moore in the 89, Emmanuel Hartnett right there as well in the 18. Quentin's going to make a move to the right side, try and go for 2nd place. Could be a pretty good battle coming back to the start-finish line. Ooh, little contact there as Quentin moves Poteet out of the way. Quentin Moore will cross in 2nd with Poteet 3rd, Hartnett 4th, as they will cross behind the race leader, Andrew Miller. So when we get the restart, it will be with less than 10 laps to go. I would say probably we'll get back green with somewhere around 5-6 laps remaining. Charles Jackson in the 44 might have been involved in what brought this yellow flag out. Had spent most of the day up in the top 5, came to pit road under the last caution back in traffic, and looks like that may have cost him. Anthony Lopez back here as well in the 99. After falling out of one of the top 2 spots I don't know what he's doing. Where the heck does he think he's going? But he fell out of one of the 2 spots of drivers that could make it in via points last week at Rio. Trying to bounce back here today, and I think maybe, just maybe, another driver that may have been involved in whatever brought out the caution might have been the 25 of K Langeland. So we'll come back in a moment, find out if Miller and company will still stay out. Is this caution going to help them make it on fuel where they'll be able to stay and keep their track position? Or will the race lead cycle back around to the drivers we saw at the front early on, like Phil Parker, J Shelly, and Kyle Thomas? Probably won't be Charles Jackson, because I think he was involved in whatever brought out the yellow. Let's go back and see just exactly what that was. Another incident coming off the final corner. A little contact between Junior Motorsports teammates there, David Garcia and Sky Commons. That sends them up into Charles Jackson. Kind of hard to see there through the dust cloud off that corner. There you see Anthony Lopez gets clipped in the 99. N Ormond may have gotten a little piece of that. And you see the 25 of K Langeland is on pit road. So he was not involved in the wreck. P Zych also getting a piece of it right there as well. I think with these drivers having no damage, they are more than willing to mash the throttle and try and drive through the dust, or in this case, the dirt clouds, and just hope that they don't get involved in the wreck. 24, Arthur Xavier, turning left, turning right, trying to figure out, hey, 44, which direction are you spinning? Looks like he will get around, but that's a tough break there for Charles Jackson, because remember, he was on the same fuel strategy as Kyle Thomas, Phil Parker, J Shelly, who had all been running up inside the top 5 early portion of this race. It's going to lose him a lot of track position now. Even if Andrew Miller and company come to pit road, Jackson will probably be restarting back somewhere around 10th, 11th, when he could have been restarting up around 3rd or 4th place. So that's what brings out the yellow for the 3rd time today. Let's go back, find out how many laps we're going to have left to race here at Riverside. So I'm assuming everybody's going to be able to make it on fuel now. Drivers that came to pit road back under the 2nd caution are now up here at the front. Andrew Miller and company all just came to pit road. And it looked like Miller lost a lot of positions on pit lane. A lot of drivers got out ahead of him. Poteet, Quentin Moore. A lot of drivers passing the 33 on pit road, so that's going to cost Andrew Miller. Sean Gallighan, a road course ace, who actually is going to be making his Duracell Cup Series debut at 2 road courses. Actually, it might be 3 road. No, I think it's 2 road courses during the playoffs, filling in the number 25 car. See if he can head into that as a winner here in the Pedrigree Xfinity Series at a road course. He leads. J Shelly in 2nd, trying to get the streak for the Blue Oval manufacturer up to 4. Phil Parker right behind him there in 3rd place. And then you got Chase Marks in 4th. Kyle Thomas, who started on the pole, there in 5th. Daniel Voyles 6th. Sky Commons currently is in 7th. 8th is Anthony Lopez, who was involved in that wreck that brought out the yellow. David Garcia 9th, and there's Charles Jackson in the 10th position. K Langeland is going to restart, it looks like, around the 13th position, so him coming to pit road when he did, the timing of that yellow kept him on the lead lap. He was able to stay out, and I believe he is the last of the drivers that did stay out under this caution. Eli Bright, who will restart, I think 14th place, came to pit road. He came off pit road of the drivers that pit under this latest yellow. We will be going back green with 7 laps to go here at Riverside. And one thing I noticed too that I probably should have documented coming into this race, as far as the 2 drivers highest in the points without a victory, who would be holding those slots. Right now they would be Kyle Keith, who is 2nd overall in the standings, and Diego Yepez, who is 4th overall in the current points. 5 races so far this season, 5 different winners. Will we have a 6th different winner here today? We've got former winners lining up in 3rd and 5th with Parker and Thomas. And Chase Marks is coming to pit road in the 3 as we get ready to go back green, giving up 4th place. Green flag back in the air. J Shelly got a good jump there on Gallighan. We'll see if he makes a move in the S's. He might actually have Sean Gallighan cleared. Nope, Gallighan back to the throttle, going to try and battle back. Phil Parker waiting to see what happens. Kyle Thomas is there along with Daniel Voyles. Ooh, Poteet off the course back there. Little contact with the 18 of E Hartnett. As J Shelly clears for the top position. Gallighan will drop back to second. Now it's on for third between Phil Parker and Kyle Thomas. Whatever happened back there between Poteet and Hartnett, they settled it out. We're still green. And now Kyle Thomas challenging for second place on Sean Gallighan. Shelly trying to break ahead of this battle. Ooh, one car went off course further back there. I think that was E Hartnett in the 18. I think he brought it back on safely, though. Top 3, 4, 5, 6, all single file as J Shelly shows the way. Kyle Thomas started on the pole. He wants to finish where he started. P1. Top 6 have broken away. Then it's a bit of a gap back to 7th place. That's where you find that was David Garcia in the 7. Charles Jackson in a fight there with Anthony Lopez. You see the caution flag is out. I think we had another incident off the final corner. It's going to set us up for a shootout to finish out this race. I think we will get back green. Question is, who's going to be the leader when we take that green flag? Shelly about 3 car lengths in hand, back to Kyle Thomas, then another 2 car lengths back to Sean Gallighan. Phil Parker in a good battle here for 4th with Sky Commons and Daniel Voyles. Voyles did not lift at all, did not use any brakes over that jump, got alongside Sky Commons, and it looks like he will take the 5th position away. Parker trying to close in on Sean Gallighan as they close in on the final corner. Shelly still with about 2.5, 3 car lengths back to Kyle Thomas. So it looks like, barring him making no mistakes over here in the final turn, that he will be leading us back to our 4th yellow flag of the day. And he will be the one to determine the restart when we go back green, which will be with less than 5 laps to go. Takes the caution. I think everyone has made whatever pit stops they are going to make now. I think everyone's made their beds. They're going to have to lie in it. This is also going to be a big break for the 3 of Chase Marks, who we saw have to come to pit road just when we went back green. I believe he remained on the lead lap. And who brought out this yellow flag is the question. I would almost look at maybe J McCloud. He was up there, running pretty decently. Now he's back here along with Matthew Logan and Jacob Thibodeaux. But it could have been anywhere in the field. So, we will... Let's see, where is the leader at? The leader's just now coming out of that 180-degree right-hander. Yeah, let's quickly try and go back, see if we can find out what brought out the caution, then we'll come back. We'll be getting the 1 to green and see if indeed everybody is going to stay out or if they will have to come to pit road, at least any of these race leaders. I don't think Jonathan Zoerlein likes this final turn. This is the 2nd time he's been involved in something here. There you see, I think it's going to be the contact there between N Stapleton and D Figadarello. Kind of forces the 2 down the track. And Jonathan Zoerlein's there. And that's going to snap the 42 of Stapleton around. And then there you see also Figadarello spins and Jonathan Zoerlein spins. This is right in front of our Dragonette winner, Ryan Madden. Ashland Boyd goes down and gets the wall. It's going to lose Boyd some spots on track as well. And he may actually also spin around off the nose of Trent Dunham. I don't know if Dunham lifts to allow Boyd to gather it back up. Little contact maybe here for Nicholas Romero. Nope, he avoids the spinning 00. Now that's what brought out the caution. Everybody else was able to kind of keep it going. So under normal circumstances, probably if it was manual cautions, we would not have thrown a yellow for that. But it is in-game yellows, and NNSCRA officials choosing that with oncoming traffic, they had to throw the caution. So it's going to set us up for a shootout here at Riverside. Hopefully the shootout will finish under green flag conditions. Well, we will get the 1 to green signal. We've had a couple of takers on pit lane, including the 4 of Z Winkle, the 39 of Sean Gallighan, who was up in the top 5. There you see him there. Apparently they were not good to go on fuel, and you currently see the 7 of David Garcia leaving pit lane. So those 4 drivers coming to pit road, topping off. But J Shelly stays out with the race lead. He and most of the drivers behind him came to pit road under the 2nd caution, which was around the midway point of this race. So they should, and I put that in quotation marks, they should be good to go the rest of the way on fuel. We'll be going back green with 3 laps to go. Shelly the leader, Kyle Thomas second, Phil Parker third. So Shelly trying to hold off two former winners from this season. Thomas winning at Pig Stadium and Parker winning at Memphis. Then you got Sky Commons, who was involved in an incident earlier on. He was actually involved in a wreck that did not bring out the caution back through the S's. He's now up to fourth. Daniel Voyles in fifth. Sixth is going to be Charles Jackson. Anthony Lopez in seventh. Eli Bright in eighth. Ninth is going to be Arthur Xavier, who has had his fair share of issues today. And completing your top 10, first time we mentioned K Shearer's name today. And he will be up inside the top 10 for this restart. Lights are out atop the pace car. We're getting ready to go back green. For Kyle Thomas and Phil Parker, a second win could mean extra bonus points when the playoff points are reformatted. For J Shelly, a victory means a spot in the playoffs. And don't count out some of these other guys back there like Commons, Voyles, Jackson, Lopez. Eli Bright, I believe, is up there on the freshest tires. Don't really know how much tires count at a dirt track, but if they do, he's sitting pretty. It's all a matter of completing these final 3 laps caution-free. If the caution comes out, I don't know if we would get back green. Maybe for a 1-lap shootout, but somehow I doubt it. They at least have to get to the white flag. If a caution comes out, then they will still race back to the start-finish line. So let's hope these drivers can mind their P's and Q's for at least 2 circuits, if not 3. As the pace car makes the turn to pit road, here we go. 3-lap shootout here at Riverside. Shelly, Thomas, Parker, Commons, Voyles. Green flag back in the air. Shelly gets a great restart. About a car length and a half he will have going into the S's over Kyle Thomas. Battle's going to be for third between Parker and Commons. Commons had to lift. That brings Voyles now into a battle for fourth. Slicing and dicing back just inside the top 5, back through the top 10, and then all the way back through the field. Top 3 have gotten single file. Shelly, Thomas, Parker. Battle for fourth. Give it to Voyles. He'll clear Commons for that spot. Commons trying to cross him over there. He might be able to get to the inside. Ooh, is he there? Not quite. Almost to the right rear quarter panel, but has to give way. Now he's under fire from the 88 of Eli Bright. That's for fifth. Caution is out. This race may end under yellow as a result. So this could be the race back to the proverbial checkered flag, and Shelly has a huge gap back to Kyle Thomas. They'll be coming around, hitting the line with 2 laps to go. I don't see how we can possibly, even with road course yellows, get back green. J Shelly off the final corner is going to see that caution flag. They're 3 wide coming to the line with Commons, Xavier, and Bright. I think Bright bested the both of them. But J Shelly crossing the line, 2 laps to go. The next time by will be the white flag lap. I think we would have needed at least 1 more lap on the scheduled distance if we were going to get a 1-lap shootout. Now the question is, can Shelly save enough fuel here under pacing to make it back to the start-finish line? I almost kind of wish that I had had no cautions on for this race. That may have made it much more exciting. But it is what it is. J Figadarello back here, along with Kyle Keith and Joshua Ciculli. Remember, we mentioned Keith came into this race in one of the playoff positions for a driver to make it in via points. And he is all the way back here now in the 38th position. And I almost wonder, was it that final corner again? If it was, that'll be the second time J Figadarello has had some issues with that turn. Oh, we'll be back in a moment. White flag will be displayed momentarily for J Shelly. Question is, will he be taking it on the track or on pit road? Something tells me he could probably save enough to be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel. But first, let's go back and see what brought out this final caution of the day at Riverside. This was coming off of that 180-degree right-hander. Ciculli in the 62, Keith in the 5. Oh, Ciculli tried to come back on track. He was just a little bit off course, tried to come back on track and contact there with Kyle Keith. That sent Andrew Miller into the grass, and off on the right side, that was, or the left side of your screen, that was Diego Yepez that went off course. See, he was able to gather it back up, though. Justin Dearborn in the 98 had to go off course, along with the two of J D Figadarello as well. Ryan Madden may have gotten off course in the 11 car as well. And there you can see the 5. He caught some pretty good air there as well, did Kyle Keith. You'll see it right here. See if we can get a better camera view. Yeah, this will definitely give us a good view of it. Watch right here. Gets into the back of the 62. Contact there with Miller, and then watch as he hits the curbing. Look how that right front wheel comes off the ground. Dearborn had to go to the grass to avoid him. Figadarello had to do the same, so did Ryan Madden. That's why we saw all of them off course. They were trying to avoid the spinning number 5. That brought out the caution. It was in front of oncoming traffic. Let's see if that's going to give J Shelly his first win of the season. What a shocker. J Shelly had to pit. He could not even under pacing make it on fuel. Number of other drivers came to pit road as well. You can see all these drivers hitting pit lane on the final lap of this race. Sky Commons, Phil Parker, Daniel Voyles, Eli Bright amongst them. There is Shelly. Is going to come off of pit lane, and he's going to be outside of the top 10 in the finishing results now as a result. And Kyle Thomas stayed out, and somehow, someway, we're going to have a second straight road course race where the pole sitter wins. Obviously not nearly the same circumstances as Ashland Boyd back at Road America. He dominated the race, never let anybody else lead a lap. Kyle Thomas, on the other hand, though, he had to fight his way back up here. He's going to be the first two-time winner on the season. Kyle Langeland's slotted, at least for now, to finish in second. Quentin Moore would finish the day out in third. Fourth place would end up being, I believe, Dylan Poteet, with Charles Jackson in fifth. And just a kind of what could have been for Corey Williams, he's up here, would have been in fourth, but because he got trapped a lap down after getting stuck in the steel guardrail, he is still the only car one lap down in the 40th position. So Kyle Thomas, who took the checkered flag back at Pig Stadium in a last lap pass. Technically, again, another last lap pass for him this season, as Shelly could not make it on fuel, as a number of other drivers could not make it on fuel, which really surprises me. Thomas was the one to receive the white flag, and it looks like he will be the first one to cross the line when the checkered flag waves. So Kyle Thomas, who came into this one fifth in the point standings, will have 2 wins on the season. His first win pretty much locked him a spot up in the playoffs anyway, I would assume. And he's been able to remain up inside the top 10 in points this entire season. This is going to be important for Kyle Thomas because when the playoff points are reformatted, he's going to have 5 extra bonus points, which will more than likely put him in the number 1 seed. I'm actually really surprised. I thought with 40 cars in the field and only 10 regular season races, we were going to have 10 different winners. But here in race number 6, we're going to have our first multi-time winner in the Pedrigree Xfinity Series. Off the final corner, 50-mile-per-hour pace, checkered flags in the air, and it will fly over the hood of the Flex Shot number 0 out of JD Motorsports. Kyle Thomas is a 2-time winner here in the Pedrigree Xfinity Series. And I think we can say definitely has now locked himself up a spot in this season's playoffs, provided he stays in the top 20 in points. But with only 4 races remaining in the regular season, and with 2 wins under his belt, I would say that is a slim to none chance. I think he's definitely going to keep himself in the top 20 in points. And that team's got a lot of momentum as well on their side. Have had good runs in the last couple of weeks. So the standings, I think, will be official now. Let's go back and see what they look like. Langeland's going to finish the day out in second, and he had his fair share of issues here today. Got involved in a wreck, I think it was that brought out our second caution. Quentin Moore, the good finishes continuing for him now, as he'll bring it home with a podium of third. Dylan Poteet will finish in fourth, and Charles Jackson finished the day out in fifth. Emmanuel Hartnett was sixth. Diego Yepez, I think he'll still keep himself in one of those playoff positions via points, as he'll finish seventh. Anthony McCrury, our winner from last week, will finish in 8th. We didn't really talk a whole lot about him today. Jonathan Zoerlein boy, how about that? I think he got involved in 2 of the last 3 cautions. He's going to battle back for a 9th place run. And how about the points leader, Ashland Boyd, battling back for a top 10? And I do believe Ashland Boyd's going to continue to grow the points lead heading into next week. Skylar Perry was 11th, Trent Dunham in 12th, James McCloud 13th. We never talked about any of them, really. Matthew Logan, he was involved in a wreck early on, finished 14th. Jacob Thibodeaux got the style points today for kind of pulling off an X Games 360 on one of the jumps. He'll finish 15th. Chase Marks, Sean Gallighan, Zach Winkle, Justin Dearborn, and David Garcia were your top 20s. James Shelly, who was the leader crossing the line when we took the last caution, will finish in 23rd. Phil Parker, Daniel Voyles, Sky Commons, Eli Bright, they were all up inside the top 10. 24th on down through 27th is where they'll finish the day out. Oh, and Corey Williams was 2 laps down. I thought he was only 1 lap down. But he's going to finish dead last. And Kyle Keith, who came into this race in one of the playoff spots via points, 39th. So that could easily drop him out of a playoff position, at least right now, points-wise, for those 2 drivers. That would be 9th and 10th when the playoff standings are put together. Saw Andrew Miller have a little bit of time out in front. He finishes all the way back in 35th. And apparently K Shearer, who was up in the top 10, couldn't make it on fuel. He'll finish all the way back in 30th. So a lot of drivers that looked like they were going to have really good runs here today could not make it on fuel on the final lap. And as a result, are going to finish outside of the top 20. But Kyle Thomas started on the pole, faded back, comes back up when it matters, had enough fuel to make it to the end. He picks up his 2nd win of the season. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race here from Riverside Rally. If you did, be sure you guys feel like subscribe to become part of the crew today. We've shown you full finish results, and these are your point standings heading into next week. We're at the portion of the season now where I'm not sure where we're going to be going to. I've got to finish out the rest of the regular season schedule and figure out the tracks that we are going to. But anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you guys in 2 days, wherever the next race is. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow night for the Duracell Cup Series race as that season continues on. Until then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching a production of X-Ray Offline Racing at its best.